Guys, so today I'm going to be working on my D15B. So I'm having a I'm on the verge of overeating or basically exploding on the road, I should say. Based on assessment, I see where there is pressure being built up in my cooling line. So the hose from here that goes to the radiator, which is the return line, there's pressure building it, so the hose is expanding. Right? To avoid it, bursting on me while I'm on the road, I have to stop every couple of minutes or I have to watch the amount of pressure I put the car under to avoid this hose exploding on. Right? So based on research and checks, I found that it would be the head gasket that's damaged, and there's also blue smoke and a lot of smoke basically coming from my exhaust whenever I press the gas. Based on research as well, it's stating bad valve seals. So I'm also going to check the valve seals, have them replaced, have their gasket replaced, and check to see if the head or block has been warped. So I'm going to do those checks to see what's going on. But I was initially thinking about removing the engine from the car entirely, because I'm feeling a bit lazy, which would be the best option though right now. Yeah, scrap, sit down. So the best option would be to remove the engine from the car entirely and work on it, because there is some seals that I may need to replace. So I'm thinking of just changing every single seal there is to be changed. So the camshaft, crankshaft, the axle seals, valve seals, the oil pan at the bottom. I'm thinking about changing the gasket for it as well, because I was sourcing a new oil pan, because that one has a dent. But everywhere I check, they're saying each one of these oil pans for these engines are different. So I can't basically get one to buy. So I'm gonna have to reuse the one I have. So I'm gonna have to take it off, change the gasket, and probably try to fix the dent and put it back on the car, because I can't get anyone a different one. And I really need that change, because I'm seeing where oil is leaking around the oil pan. That's a problem for me. So as you can see here, I have a lot of oil leak that I'm trying to get rid of now. So I already removed the distributor, took out the radiator, took out the AC fan, removing the necessary wires to be moved. So all these wires have to be removed. Once these wires are removed, clear them out of the way, because these are very important wires. I don't want to get them damaged. So I'm trying to remove them out of the way so I don't damage them. That's pretty much it. Once I remove all the wires, get them out of the way, I'll be able to remove the mounts. So I have three mounts that are holding this engine in the car. And all I'm going to do is remove the manifold, which is the exhaust manifold here. So I'm going to remove it here, and then there is a joint under the bottom of the engine. I'm going to remove that joint as well. Alright, so guys, I cleared all the wires out of the way and everything. So all the wires are free. So now I'm going to remove the exhaust manifold. So I'm going to start by removing these bolts. Afterwards, I'm going to raise the car up, remove the tires, remove the hub spindles, and proceed to remove the exhaust joint. Remove the rod for the shifter. So I'm going to have to take off the shifter rods from the gearbox and remove the axles from the gearbox and the engine. Once that's done, then I can lower back the car, put some boards underneath the engine to hold it, and remove these motor mounts. Once these mounts are out, then I'll be able to jack the car back up into the air, leaving the engine on the ground, hopefully. So fingers crossed that works out as planned. All right. All right, so guys, I'm going to remove the caliper, right? So what I'm going to do is take off the entire caliper from the disc wheel because I'm going to take down the entire spindle with everything. So I'm just going to remove the caliper and then I'm going to remove the additional bolts from the lower ball joint, upper ball joint, and the tie rod. And then once that's done, remove the axle from the center, take it off, and then I'll remove the axle from the gearbox afterwards. So these bolts that are on the caliper are two 17mm bolts. I'm just removing these two 17mm bolts. This one is giving me a little fight, so extension, give me a little more leverage. Alright. Since he's giving me a fight, let's draw for the big guns. So now I'm going to have the nuts here and up here removed. First I need to remove the pins. So there is a pin inside each of these that you have to remove. So this is pin 1. These aren't really the original pins. This one is the 17. So it's always righty tighty, lefty loosey for this side of it. That's it. Give it a few taps and it pops right out. Put the right amount of. There we go. So that one is out. Here to have the upper control arm removed, you have to apply a few taps, which is the same, and that pops right out. Once that pops out, you can move the axle freely around, and pretty much it's the same for the lower part. However, you have to do this one while pulling upwards. There we go. So that's popped out, and the axle is here. I'm gonna tap it back inwards so that I can keep the axle in, and then I'll be lifting, removing, and there we go. So this is the spindle. Yep. Now for this this battening plate here has caused me to buy a wheel bearing once that I currently have no use for, because I heard the grinding sound like it's a wheel bearing, but didn't remember that I had changed some components on the car prior, and then the battening plate was all rubbing against the disc wheel and it was making that grinding sound. So I went and bought a wheel bearing thinking it was the wheel bearing gone bad, until when I was ready to change that bearing I realized what was the issue. So always remember to check your battening plate and pry it back from your disc wheel. Alright, so now that this side has been removed, I remove all the nuts and the bolts. I'm going to get something to tie this up to the side. Apply a little force to remove these here, and then take the spindle off. Remove the axle as well. It's the same procedure as on the side. All right, I have to give thanks to the reggae bed. So me and the reggae bed under here, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, give thanks to the reggae bed. You see it. All right, so first thing, I have 10 here that's holding the muffler to the engine. So this is holding the exhaust manifold to the engine, this right here. So I'm going to remove this one first. 50 cables. We have another 13. Let me remove this 13 here. And this side. So we have two 13s for the shifter. And rod number 2. So now the rods are out. Only thing holding on to this engine is now the muffler. Right. And that's it. Slide the muffler back to remove it. And that's it. The pipe is down. This is down. Ugh. I'm stuck. The manifold is on my. And then we get through. For axles, you just need to apply a little force, just a little bit. And there we go. Axles are out. Axle 1, axle 2, we're out. And that's pretty much it. Now it's time to remove the motor mount bolts. Once those bolts are out, the engine will be on the ground. So I have 119. So one of these bolts is 19, one is 17, and one is at 20. I believe this is 22. This is my 22 socket. I'm going to get the 22 bolt first. Out. Right, so time for just the 17. Alright, so now it's time to remove the mounts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about two pieces of board underneath the car. So the engine is going to get maybe a piece or so. The gearbox will get at least two or three pieces because of the height difference. Then I'm going to lower the car onto those boards, remove the mounts, hopefully jack the car back up, leaving the engine on the ground. So I'm going to get those boards and prepare that, and then we'll proceed. All right, so now I'm going to start the removal process. So this bracket here is the tarp mount, and it's attached to the chassis. So I'm going to remove the bolt for the tarp mount bracket. Once I remove that one, I'm going to proceed to remove the gearbox mount that's right here. And I'm going to move on to the back because there's one bolt there that I need to remove. And then I'll move over to the engine side over there and remove that engine mount in the corner. There's one mount in the corner over there. So let's get this tarp mount out. So this is it. This is out. I'm going to remove this as well. So I'm using the shorter drive. Moving the 17 as well. And I don't want, by any chance, this engine decides to drop forward and my condenser ends up getting damaged further than it already is. It's old. So I'm going to remove the condenser just for safety. The condenser line is attached to the dryer bottle that's over in the corner beside the window washer there, and it's a 10 millimeter bolt. So I'm going to remove the line from the dryer bottle instead of trying to remove it from the condenser because there are two lines connected to the condenser. So I'm just going to remove the one that goes to the dryer bottle and take it out. Now, for safety again, I try to plug the hole that the hose is being removed from to avoid anything going into that hole and creating further problems. So I'm going to use this to stuff the hole when I remove the hose. So my condenser is out. I'm just going to set it to the side. So there's only one more bolt left to the back. So I'm going to try to remove this bolt now. To hold on to this now. There we go. So it's out. There's nothing holding the back of the engine now. It's only the side. So now I'm going to move over to the side to remove the side mount. This is it. Ooh, damn. These are tight. I'm gonna need some power. I'm gonna need some power. All right. I'm looking for another way to pull this thing, but then again, I'm gonna have a problem. I still will need to pull these for it to go down without creating any damage. All right, let me get a piece of pipe for some added leverage. All right. So with a little leverage, we should be able to go crack. And there we go. That's one. And that's two. Just like that. Need to come out. Let's do it this way. So there we go. The mount is off. The engine fell. And no, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm learning as I go along. Like this, but this is the DIY way. So now the engine is on the ground. The next step is to get the car back up into the here so I can remove the engine from underneath the car and work on it outside. So hopefully that goes well. All right, so I believe this is as high as I can get it for now. So I'm gonna have to make this work. I'm gonna try to bring the right side a little bit higher, and I'll work from there. So I'm gonna remove the front bumper as well, because it's well, I need to clean and do everything. I'm going to bring this side up a little bit higher to match the other side, and I should be good to go from here. All right, so that's the engine under there. Now, the real challenge is getting it out from under there. So let's do that part. I might remove the gearbox from it, so it should make it a little bit lighter, I guess. So to remove the gearbox, I'm going to be needing basically 17 socket. 17. So the starter bolt actually went all the way through to the engine. Damn, I didn't know that. Because I know you should just wiggle, the gearbox comes off. So I'm wiggling, but it wasn't coming off, so I didn't know. That was what's happening, man. Damn. Ugh. So this is the gearbox. This is the truth bearing. I'm gonna get a new one anyway, so yeah, you can't go there. Attempt to maybe make it easier to move this thing to the side. I don't know. Guys, so I got the engine out, separated it from the gearbox, and now that's the engine. So challenge now is to remove the compressor, the alternator, remove the belts, and remove the top cover. Once I remove the top cover, then I'll be seeing the cams. I'll need to remove the cams, and then from there remove the head bolts. Once the head bolts are off, then I'll be able to lift the head. So stay tuned. This is my DIY head gasket replacement, valve seals replacement. Basically, I'm going to change all these belts as well. So I'm going to buy a new timing belt, a new alternator, a compressor belt. I took off the power steering because um, I don't enjoy driving a gearbox with power steering. So that's why I kind of took off the power steering. Plus, it was leaking, and I hate the oil leaking everywhere. I won't be putting back the power steering because I prefer the tough steering over it being too free. So I'm going to keep it that way. Um, Pretty much. I'm going to see if I can replace the crankshaft seals as well. Um, I might replace the plug seals. Pretty much, I'm going to try to replace as many seals as I can. Change the bottom cover as well. Well, I can't change the bottom cover because I can't get one, but I'm going to take it off, try to fix the dent, clean it up, maybe get the gasket for it. If I can't get the gasket, silicone is going to be my best friend. I'm also considering replacing the water pump because that water pump is a new water pump that I bought about a year ago. But since I am already going through all this, I might replace the water pump, also replace the tensioner pulley if necessary. Just going to do some checks to see what may need to be replaced and just replace them. My alternator might need to change. I'm not 100% sure as yet because after pulling off the wires, I found that one of the wires that connect to the alternator broke off. And I'm going to assume that that's the reason why the battery wasn't being charged. So hopefully, it's only the wire, not the alternator. That way, I won't have to spend that money to buy a new alternator. I can just clean this one up, fix the wire that's broken, and we'll be good to go. So now I'm going to attempt to remove the compressor. So for the compressor, we have 1 bolt, 2 bolt, 3, 4. So we have approximately 4 bolts holding the compressor, and we have this belt that's also holding the compressor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slacken that a bit. Once that's slackened, then I would normally use a 10. Round that up just a bit to remove the tension. I pray. Chuti. I'm catching a lot of stuff. Let's see what I got. Overeat. That means either a radiator or rather I'm going to ready radiator. Water in there cooler. Water in there now. That coolant went in there before. Thermostat probably in there. The fan work good. Why we put it in? You have to test the fan. So fan, I'm looking at radiator. I think they're dirty. So between the fan and the radiator, I probably want it first. And then you can take out the thermostat. So this is our AC belt now. Here is damaged. It's still pretty good, but it's pretty good. It's a new one because I recently replaced it. But because of this tear, I might just buy another one because I've had this issue before on the previous belt. One day I was using the AC driving and then there was no AC. When I got home and checked, the belt was gone. So yeah, I'm just gonna avoid this belt overall. Get a new belt. So just to keep this from falling off, it stays there. That sounds good. Sounds good. Bearings is good. It's working perfectly fine. Only thing I might use remove it. Clean the area, had a little grease. We're back in business. Compressor wheel sounds good. From the compressor. This is nice. I gotta clean this thing. A lot of grease. Alright, so the compressor is off. I'm gonna set it to the side. These are 14 bolts. So I just need to get this engine cleaned up. This is really bad. Get all of that. Yeah, all of that now. Just want to get this thing cleaned up right here. This was the power steering pump bracket. So yeah, I'm gonna remove this too. Back to a 14. Take the belt off. This belt looks good, but there is a lot of cracks in it. See the cracks, the damage. So I'm just gonna get a new one as well. Oh, good. You can hear this. Some got the alternator is falling apart. That's not. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah, that's not good. Okay. This is the culprit inside our alternator. So this is broken. So I'm gonna assume that this is why the alternator is not charging. If it's fixable, I'll fix it based on what I see inside when I get in there now. If it's something that I can fix, I'll fix it. If it's beyond my fixing, then chances are I may ask someone to fix it, depending on the cost. If it's going to cost me more than what it's going to cost to buy a new alternator, then I'll just buy an alternator instead. Oh, so I was doing it wrong. That's So I was actually tightening instead of pulling. Okay. Alright, so this is the inside. So there's one here. The one that broke was supposed to be here. So based on the damage, one pin is here and the other pin is down in the corner down here. So I would say I can't fix this right now. I'm not going to bother take it to someone to fix. I'm just gonna see if I can buy a different alternator or maybe source this entire coil wound in here so I could remove it and replace it. So I'm going to look into the options and see what's available. All right, so this is the drive belt or the timing belt. It's fairly new because I changed this about 3 months ago or so, so still in good condition. I may reuse it as well as I might just get a different one. So this is it. And so this is the tensioner wheel for the belt. Um, it doesn't sound coarse or anything. It's moving pretty much free, so I'm going to say it's still good. So I might just clean it up and reuse it. Right? So I might just clean this up and keep it. Yeah. So when you're taking the cams out, keep them pressed together to remove them because there are some springs in there that will, yeah, make them fall apart. And as we say, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go along, so I don't want that to fall apart. All right. This part, um, pretty much the same process. So I'm going to take it up just the same way as it was laid here, as I need to put it back just like this when I'm putting it back. All right. This goes with the cams. This gear goes with the cams, and all those bolts that I took off go with the cams. So I put those together to ensure I don't lose anything. They're going to be in a box. That's it. Alright. Now these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 over here. These are the head studs. Um, these are dowels. These are what would help you to align the cams when you're putting them back in. Alright, for this part, it's getting dark. The mosquitoes are biting, so I'm going to cover the engine now to prevent any water getting into it, and call it a night. So I'll continue the video another day. Stay tuned for part 2, and stay tuned for the entire process. I'm going to place the head gasket. I'm going to remove these valves and change their seals to prevent the oil from burning. I'm going to remove the clutch and pressure plate as well, because I'm going to put a new one in, as well as I'm going to remove the bottom cover to sort that out. I'm going to power wash the entire engine to give it a clean look. Hopefully I can get it clean, like new clean look, and that's pretty much it. And then I'm going to put it back in the car. I'm also going to complete the exhaust. I started working on my exhaust where I weld a muffler onto the existing pipe. I was thinking about changing the pipe, but nah, I'm just gonna work with what's there. However, I do have a resonator. My current resonator is damaged. There is a hole in it, so I'm gonna chop it off, put a fresh resonator on there, and then that would complete the exhaust. I'm thinking about adding an extractor, but I haven't made up my mind yet. So for now, just the resonator, and that's it until I decide if I'm going to go with an extractor.